He left.
What, you're good to go? Okay.
Bushes
So
planted.
much, so much.
You sit there for 2 hours debating.
Can we just wait like 2 seconds? Can I?
Yeah.
Come on, Michael. You had 35 minutes to
Where do I
him.
put that at the end? Oh, okay.
Okay, I thought you were gonna take 5 minutes.
Just my allergies. Thank you.
People are suffering.
Yes, they are.
All right, so Kevin's ready, so we should begin. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Moore.
Present?
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iannaselli.
Here.
Councilman Pell.
Here.
Councilman Scavone.
Here.
All right, let's begin with our review of the draft agenda. For Tuesday, we're going to have 8 public hearings. The first one is to accept a deed of open space in connection with an old filed map development section map of Ocean View Park, map number 105, section 4 in Watermill. Public hearing 2, to consider the donation and transfer of land at terminus of Bay Bluff Way, Noyak, owned by the town of Southampton, to the Community Preservation Fund, and to amend the Community Preservation Project Plan and the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include the property. The third public hearing is to consider the donation transfer of land owned by the town at 20 Shinnecock Road, otherwise known as the Bel Air Hotel, in Hampton Bays, to the Community Preservation Fund, and to amend the Community Preservation Project Plan and the CPF Management Plan and Stewardship Plan to include said property. The fourth public hearing is to consider the adoption of the 2024 CPF Pilot Plan. The fifth public hearing is to consider a 1-year agricultural use agreement for 2024-2025 pursuant to Chapter 247 of the Code. And the public hearings 6 through 7 are related. 6 is to amend Chapter 19 entitled Department of Police Public Safety Commission in order to consolidate functions of the Licensing Review Board. 7 is to amend Chapter 143 Contractors in order to reorganize procedures and standards for home improvement contractor licenses. And 8 is to amend Chapter 299 Regulation of Taxi Cabs and Other Vehicles to consolidate functions of the License Review Board. All right.
Okay.
So let's get
Town Board
started.
Resolution 46387. This is the annual cybersecurity conference in Albany for information systems personnel. 46400, authorize an agreement with Community Development Corporation of Long Island to provide assistance with housing programs available under the Community Housing Fund.
Should the, and I'm co-sponsoring this.
Co-sponsored with
should-
Councilman Uselli.
Should this, should we redact corporation, because they are now CDLI?
I also contacted Kara about this, because I had some questions, as I know the supervisor did as well.
Yeah.
She said she was fine with us holding off on this until we get those answers.
Yeah, I think we should, table
I'd like to
this
keep
for
it on, and
further
I'll table it
discussion.
on the floor.
Second to table.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Okay. Not
But just a note of the redaction of corporation, we just want to make sure, because they are now CDLI.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
So did you want to take it out or leave it in?
Table?
The corporation part?
The word
Oh, corporation should be taken out.
But
Okay,
it,
so
actually, you have to check that, because corporation
Yeah.
may still be in their official title, but they may be going by CDLI.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
This
we'll-
is what
we'll-
Kara put
we'll
in,
consult with
so
Kara.
we'll ask her about that.
okay.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46283, authorize change order AVA Design Inc. for the architectural design, engineer services, as well as construction management of a proposed ambulance facility at 1256 North Sea Road in Southampton. And this is because the project ran a year longer than anticipated, so there was construction oversight for the additional time period, resulting in this change order amount of $58,500.
And there's an additional one, Town Board Resolution 46408, authorization, change order number 3 for general construction portion of the Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Facility with Stalco General Contractors.
And this, Councilman Scavone and I met with Nick Jimenez and Tatiana to discuss the increase, and these were all changes that were deemed necessary and requested by the town to, in the ambulance corps, to make for a better project.
And it's still within the contingency of the allotted monies.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Town Board Resolution 46395, authorization funding for Peconic Estuary Partnership from 2024 Community Preservation Fund water quality monies to create a capital account for water quality projects from portion of the 2024 award.
Could you just tell us a little bit about that, because I don't recall hearing about that one. Is this something we do every year, or is this,
Well, this, yes, we do this each year. We donate the most money to the Peconic Estuary Program, and these projects are various projects that they do that we need to have in a capital lines in order to get CPF monies over to them. Last year, we didn't get this done until January for 2023. We actually got the contracts out and done in January of 2024. This year, we are getting them done much earlier, so it seems like it's kind of backed up to one another. This is what the Executive Director, Dr. Novak, came and presented about a couple of weeks ago, and the programs of the Peconic Estuary Program that we help fund through the water quality monies of community preservation.
that's fully funded with the CPF water quality money?
Yes.
This is actually a 5-year plan.
Yeah, 2024 to 2028 capital
Mhm.
program.
May I be listed as a co-sponsor?
I would like to as well, Sunday.
Resolution?
You want to do it too? That was the whole board.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was on here,
The
okay,
whole board.
whole board. Please, son.
Please.
Thank you.
All right, Town Board Resolution ID number 46250, authorizing the purchase of Ford F-250 XL Super Cab from Van Bortel Ford, Inc., using a New York State contract.
Town Board Resolution ID 46251, authorized purchase of Ford Transit XLT from Van Bortel Ford, Inc., using New York State contract. I just want to make note of the fact that this is for senior services. A woman who frequented senior services later in her life, Gisela Bernhardt, actually left the senior services department $190,000, and she wanted it spent towards transportation for getting seniors not only to the senior center, but to doctor's appointments and other things. So this van will be purchased out of that $190,000.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Is there something that has to be reflected in the financial impact on that
It's in there.
regard? It is?
There's a donation. I just wanted people to know it wasn't just it was $190,000 that she
Nice.
left the town.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46249, to authorize the purchases from Clark Equipment Company, DBA Bobcat Company, using Sourcewell contract. Town Board Resolution ID number 46389, to authorize purchases from Omnia Partners contract with 84 Lumber.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46292, authorizing the purchases of Hustler Landscaping and Grounds Maintenance from All Island Equipment Corp. using Sourcewell contract. And also Town Board Resolution 46294, authorizing purchases of installation, maintenance, and repair of synthetic turf fields from the Land Tech Group, Inc., using Town of Babylon contract. Also, Town Board Resolution 46372, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore, authorizing renewal of the town's financial solution and associated third parties perpetual licensing with HSO, formerly known as Interdin, also known as Solutions.
Town Board Resolution ID 46350, authorize roof repairs from Statewide Roofing, Inc. using Suffolk County contract.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46384, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with professional consultant A. Martin Petrovic to review the 2024 groundwater monitoring reports and management of the Lewis Road PRD East Quogue Golf Course.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46374, authorizing the supervisor to execute any and all agreements with Stripe, Inc. for processing of fees as a subcontractor of GoGov, Inc. for online permitting and licensing processing.
Town Board Resolution 46404, co-sponsored with Councilmember Uselli, authorize the supervisor to sign a release of lien for a community development block grant loan program.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46373, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for liquid propane gas with Starlight Propane Gas Company.
Town Board Resolution 46368, authorizing the supervisor to sign Family Services League grant agreement and accept funds from the Youth Bureau to provide mental health outreach and counseling to youth and families.
Madam Clerk, I would like to co-sponsor that resolution.
Could
Thank
you
you,
add me as
Supervisor.
well?
Thank you, Councilwoman.
And myself too.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Councilman.
Town Board Resolution ID 46238, authorize purchase of equipment and rentals from United Rental using Sourcewell contract. Town Board Resolution 46285, authorize purchase of a F-350 from NYS OGS contract with Otis Ford for vehicle class 1-8 statewide.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46231, to authorize the purchase of Motorola radios from Integrated Wireless Technologies LLC using the New York State OGS contract with Motorola Solutions, Inc. That's for public safety. Town Board Resolution ID number 46375, to authorize the purchase of radios from the New York State OGS contract from Motorola Solutions, Inc., and that is for the police department.
Town Board Resolution ID 46369, authorize the supervisor to execute 2024 Parks and Recreation Agreement with Windsurfing Hamptons DBA Water Sports.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46370, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with K&D Appraisals, Inc. as it relates to professional appraisal review services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point PIMP project.
Sunday, could I be added as a co-sponsor?
Town Board Resolution 46366, authorize supervisor to execute agreement with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey, to provide engineer and design permit and construction support service for the replacement of Jobs Lane Bridge in Bridgehampton.
Town Board Resolution 46379, co-sponsored with Councilman Uselli, to authorize the supervisor to execute contract with SourcePass Contemporary LLC to provide infrastructure upgrade for the Tiana Life Saving Station.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46282, to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2024 contract extensions with towing companies.
Town Board Resolution 46371, also co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend for award of Community Preservation Fund, 20% water quality improvement and project funds for Library Avenue Corporate DBA Harbor House.
It's you.
You've got another one, Bill?
On page 34.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Sorry. 46237, authorize supervisor to sign a sole source contract with Chemtech Inc. for Pavo Green Biologic Asphalt Solvent.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46349, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorize the supervisor to sign a sole source contract with Direct Environmental Corp. For Big Belly Solar Smart Waste and Recycling Systems. Town Board Resolution ID number 46290, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorizing the supervisor to sign a sole source contract with the Verdon Company for Verdon Street clocks and parts.
Town Board Resolution 46236, co-sponsored with Councilman Azile, authorize supervisor to sign solar contract with Vassar System Inc. for sales and service of virtual mobile NA product formerly known as Johnson.
Town Board Resolution 46355, co-sponsored with Councilman Powell. Authorize a water quality improvement project funding request by the Town of Southampton Municipal Works Department for the Town Hall sanitary system upgrade.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46338, co-sponsored by Council Members Pell and Scavone, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with LEB Electric Limited for Town Hall electric vehicle charging stations. Just wondered, how many was that we're getting?
2.
Yeah.
2,
We just talked about that yesterday.
yeah. There was more. Only 2. Town Board Resolution ID number 46284, co-sponsored by the entire board, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Norco Construction, Inc. for the Southampton Head Start facility expansion.
Sunday, could I be added as a co-sponsor?
You're on it.
You are.
This is,
We're all on there.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm
Town
looking at the
Board
next one.
Resolution ID number 46407, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Savick and Murray to provide enhanced construction administration services for the Southampton Head Start facility expansion.
Sunday, could I be added as a co-sponsor to that?
Myself too, please.
Town Board
Michael,
Resolution.
you want to be on?
Do you want to be on it?
I said yes.
Oh, really? I'll be on it, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me know.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if that
Let's
was.
see what's going
I
on.
was
here.
nodding.
Okay.
Let's see
Sorry.
what's going on.
This is also CME along with Head Start. A lot of
Good
work has gone into
organization,
this,
CME.
yeah. I'm excited. And it's right around the corner from Enterprise Drive.
Okay, let's see. Town Board
Point
Resolution ID number 46240, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with for lumber and paint east of the canal with North Sea Hardware.
Town Board Resolution ID 46018, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone. Award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Partners Industrial Services, Inc. for Hampton Bays Water District tank washing.
Town Board 46394, also sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2023-1216 to add Town of Southampton as co-sponsor of the Water Quality Improvement Project 10 of Southampton Animal Shelter.
Can I be added as a co-sponsor to that?
Could I be added as well, Sunday?
Me as well, Cindy. To the entire board.
I'm on there, yeah.
Town Board Resolution ID
Thank you.
46351, 2024 notice to bidders for mobile concessions at Red Creek Park.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46363, 2024 notice to bidders for the Bel Air Cove Motel asbestos abatement and demolition.
Yay!
Yes.
Could I be added, Sunday?
I'll be
Myself
added as
too.
well,
I imagine
The
we
whole
please.
would
board.
all like to be on.
How about time it's gone?
Hmm?
You want to be?
Oh, yeah, the plan was always to take this thing down. Yes, certainly add me.
There'll be a cheer
Big
that will
difference
go up
from
in
when I got
the
on this
the
board to now.
hamlet.
They might throw you a party.
So those bids come in May 23rd.
Yes, trying to do it. as
No,
quick
no,
as-
that's when the bid specs are available, I'm sorry.
Try to do it as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
46361. 2024 notice to bidder for Cobb Road shoreline stabilization.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46337, 2024 notice to bidders. Oh, sorry, I'm reading yours. My apologies, Supervisor.
I don't even know where we are.
Page 49.
Page 49. I'm
Okay,
just excited
sorry.
about it.
Yes. All right, Town Board Resolution ID number 46337, co-sponsored with Councilmember Iacilli. 2024 notice to bidders for Hampton Bays Bike Lane and Multi-Use Trail Project.
Sunday,
add-
could I be added as a
That's a good one.
co-sponsor?
Me as well, Sunday.
Myself too, please.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46410 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for Highway Department to include CHIPS, Pave New York, EWR, and POP funding. Good.
I'd like to actually be added to that as a co-sponsor.
Myself too.
Gotta pave those roads. It's one of the most important things we do.
Yes. Happy roads, happy drivers.
So is everybody on this one or just,
No,
okay. All right.
I'm happy about it.
All right. Town Board Resolution ID number 46380 to amend the 2024 budget for various departments. Town Board Resolution ID number 46222 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for waste management equipment.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor to that.
Myself too.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46354, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the adoption of the 2024 CPF pilot plan and payment of the 2024 pilots. And Town Board Resolution ID number 46346, to authorize the closure of certain capital projects. Town Board Resolution ID number 46353, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to deposit monies for professional services in connection with the Sabonic Golf Course groundwater monitoring review. And Town Board Resolution ID number 46241, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to deposit monies for professional services in connection with the Bridge Golf Course groundwater monitoring review.
Town Board Resolution 46111, accept the resignation of Bob Moser from West Hampton, Spionk, Remsenburg, Eastport, Queog, CAC West. Also, Town Board Resolution 46392, a resolution establishing rules of conduct for town advisory committees.
I'd like to co-sponsor that too.
I just have to say, I would be offended by this if I served on these boards, because you're basically telling people they have to act like adults.
And I think we might want to talk about it a little bit more, because I think there's things that we could put in here. Thank you for getting it started, Councilman Iacilli.
Rules.
But, you know, that some of the organizations might think that they shouldn't have the meeting if a liaison's not present, so that should be clarified. And, you know, maybe what we want to get from them, because, you know, they're here to help advise us of what the issues are in the communities, and, you know, maybe we could formalize how they respond.
This is simply just to keep comments that people make in you know, to be respectful to, you know, these are town authorized meetings, and it's 2024 and we don't have a code of conduct for any of our advisory committees. You know, that's the typical, you know, HR policy for people who work for any organization. This is for people who serve on these boards. I understand that they're volunteers, but it's also an important thing to remember that if you're on an advisory committee, you're in some sense representing the town in some way. You've been appointed by this board. This is really just to keep, you know, all of our meetings to keep a respectful tone at all of these meetings, to make sure that people are respecting other opinions. You know, it's really just a very benign resolution that just allows for our meetings to occur in a smooth, transparent manner, and doesn't it sort of holds the meeting back from sort of devolving into chaos. Not that that happens often, but I think, when we are here to do the business of government, we want to try to work with the community. Many of our advisory committees are representative of the town. We want to make sure that we are in keeping with an orderly process for all of our advisory committees.
So the advisory committees serve at the pleasure of the town board, and having gone through a committee that had issues with this type of behavior, those individuals are removed from the CACs. They're not allowed to participate any longer. And I just think this is, the people that do serve, and I've never, aside from one incident, never had an issue with this. I think the people that serve are good. I honestly, I feel like this is like, you're passing a resolution to say, be a good human. Not that I don't support being a good human, I just, like the supervisor said, I would like to actually go more into depth on things like, if you're on a Zoom for your CAC, you don't turn your camera off and you're present, and things of that nature. I think it can go beyond this to make it,
So you'd be interested in adding to this?
yes.
Okay.
Do we have a
Well-
code of conduct already
No.
for, not in the town, doesn't have a code of conduct
For advisory committees?
for anybody? I mean, because we could.
According
we could
to
pull from that.
Kathleen-
The handbook.
Yeah,
Oh, but that's for employees though.
Employees, yeah.
But the appointed boards are, they're.
But there's nothing for any of the appointed boards, and, I was speaking with Kathleen Murray, town attorney, on this. There were efforts in the past to try to create something that can be a framework of ensuring that meetings occur in an orderly fashion. And there is a need for this. I think, again, it's 2024. We don't want anybody making disparaging comments to any particular member, whether it's, one member to another member. These are supposed to be organizations where we work together, that they are also representative of the town. And I think it's incumbent upon us to come up with a process in place that allows, at least provides some sort of transparency on what is expected of members, how to conduct themselves. Because again, this is about, being a representative of the town in some sense. So I think it's incumbent upon us to do this.
And this is specific to advisory boards, right?
Advisory committees, yeah.
Okay. I think this is a good start, and really, if council members want to add to it, and,
I'm
go
happy
deeper,
with that, yeah. I'd be happy to
Yeah.
work
Do
with
that.
we can
you,
we can move
Supervisor and
forward with other
Councilwoman,
stuff,
to add to this and edit.
I like
and-
this.
And thank you, Councilman Pell, for your support on this.
I think it's needed.
Yeah, thank you for getting it started. Awesome. Town Board Resolution ID number 46267 to authorize the settlement of litigation matter Alper versus the Town of Southampton. Town Board Resolution ID number 46391 to authorize the settlement of the litigation matter Preston, Washington versus the County of Suffolk, Town of Southampton, and Southampton Town Police Department. Town Board Resolution ID number 46274, the continuation of legal services by Stephen Leventhal Esquire for ethics matters in 2024. And Town Board Resolution ID number 46340, co-sponsored by the entire board, is a resolution of adoption repealing the existing Town Code, Chapter 23, Code of Ethics, and replacing it in its entirety with a new Town Code, Chapter 23, Code of Ethics. Although I did note that our deputy town attorney, Kathleen Murray, sent an email saying that there were two changes that had been made. One ministerial, one to add a table of contents, which is present, but the other was to remove section 23-17F8 because it was a duplication of 2317-F7. But in my copy, F8 is still there, so let me just check, because I just got a revised. Yeah, it's still there, so, according to Kathleen's memo, 23-17F8 should be removed.
What page are you on?
Page
Page
74.
Okay, could you say it one more time?
F8.
F8.
Removing F8.
That's it. We just, yeah. Up and up.
Town Board Resolution ID number 460.
They're slightly different.
They're different.
They are.
I know, but she was saying keep 7 and get rid of 8, so, I
Yeah.
mean, we can always check with her. They're the same one, just the dollar amounts
They
change?
seem to be overlapping in the in what they're trying to address, so, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I can check with her.
Yeah, we
Alright.
can check, we
Thanks.
can verify, we have to.
Sure.
Yeah. She
She's
did,
saying it,
she sent a memo April 26th.
Okay.
All right, Town Board Resolution ID number 46048. A resolution adopting form of annual financial disclosure statement pursuant to Southampton Town Ethics Code.
I have to ask Jim a question on this one. I'm filing mine today.
yeah, okay.
Does that matter that it's changing?
Oh, I think the,
Because it's due the day after we change this.
right. What's? And a lot of people have
There's
filed
not a
already.
lot of changes,
Yeah.
but
We've
there's
already
some.
had several files.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a lot of people have
So
filed
I can just
already,
file mine that I have.
Yeah,
and-
file.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't, I don't think. What's the change? I don't know.
So
There's like third party.
those that have them now will fill out what we received.
This one's the big one, I think. Or lobbyists. There's like,
I
there's
don't think we'd have to
some
replace what we
differences.
have, just the new.
I think it's this one,
Right.
licensed professionals and lobbyists. Jen? I think that's new.
No.
So Jim, just to confirm, I mean, this is the what, people that have already filed for calendar year
fine.
2024 don't have to refile.
Right,
Right.
right, sure.
Okay. Town Board Resolution ID 46388, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Fire Department Memorial Day Parade on May 26, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Town Board Resolution ID 46383, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Southampton Elks Carnival from May 10th to May 12th, 2024, and May 17th to May 19th, 2024.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46342 to accept the resignation of Erica Craffa, Justice Court Clerk in the Justice Court. Town Board Resolution.
You missed one,
I did.
page 94.
Part-time salaries.
Oh. Town Board Resolution ID number 46133, the 2024 part-time salaries.
Jen.
Do I need to read the other one over again?
Oh, really?
I think it's a competitive item.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46286 to accept the resignation of Robert Casabianca, heavy equipment operator in municipal works. Town Board Resolution ID number 46086 to accept the retirement of Valerie Tomaszewski, therapeutic activities worker in Housing and Community Services. Town Board Resolution ID number 46365 to appoint Christina Ramger Moreno to therapeutic activities worker in senior services. Town Board Resolution ID number 46376 to appoint Nicole Jensel to Principal Legal Secretary in the Town Attorney's Office. Town Board Resolution ID number 46362 to appoint Sarah Chartuk to Technical Support Aid in Information Technology. Town Board Resolution ID number 46390 to appoint Stephen Brown to Maintenance Mechanic 1 in the Trustees.
Town Board Resolution 46347, attend drug recognition expert interviews. These are 3 members of our department. Town Board Resolution 46343, authorize the attendance of interrogating communications assessment and tactics, train the trainer session for law enforcement agencies.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46243, co-sponsored by the entire board. Notice of public hearing for applicants seeking an exemption from Town Code Chapter 314 entitled Moratorium on Battery Energy Storage Systems pursuant to subsections 314 entitled Applications that may be exempted. And this is requirement that we hold this hearing.
Town Board Resolution 46367, co-sponsored with Councilman Uselli. This is a notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code 61 residency requirements to recognize an exemption for the Housing Authority membership. There's a public hearing on May 28th.
So you're changing the code for one individual?
I'm
No, I
changing.
thought you were
I am changing.
tabling this.
I am going to put this forward. I'm changing this to align with the other boards in the town of Southampton. So we will get and this is for the board's consideration, and we will get a presentation from our town attorney's office on this, and we'll make our decision. And it's not for one person. It is to align the housing authority with our other advisory boards.
Because the legal advice that I had received from Deputy Town Attorney Kathleen Murray was that all of our advisory boards members were required to be town of Southampton residents. So that's the opposite of what you're saying, so I think we just need clarification on this.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't know why you'd want a non-resident advising us on what the housing authority should be doing in the town of Southampton.
I mean,
We
feel the
allow
same way.
non-residents to be on all of our
I understand, but
administrative
if you-
board.
if you have-
Excuse, Councilwoman, just to, clarify, the way you're framing it is really, we're just aligning it with all of our other boards. And, if the board, future boards or this board, they do have the power to appoint or not appoint. So that will be up to them.
yeah, I mean, I think that anybody
It
on our
says-
advisory boards should be a resident of the town
Well, the
of
change says, for the
Southampton.
purpose of this section, an appointed member of a town administrative board shall, at the time of his or her appointment and throughout his or her term of office, be an elector and resident of the town of Southampton. This limitation shall not apply to appointments to a town advisory committee and/or board or the Southampton Town Housing Authority.
Well, we're going to have a public hearing, and you
Okay.
can bring this up at that time.
Because it's supported by two, I mean, this is why we should have some processes also in place for putting things forward.
Well, if,
All right,
if we don't
I mean-
agree, we can vote on it, and.
Anyone's
and
free
so
to
be
put
it.
anything they want forward, then we have a discussion and we decide how we're gonna vote.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing.
Government in action.
Well, I
There
think
you
it would
go.
be a nice idea if we had talked about it at a work session, so that we could get get our facts straight, since we've received conflicting legal advice on this. But
Agreed.
we will do that.
Town Board Resolution 46272, public hearing, Chapter 261, consider enforcement action at County Road 398, County Road 39, Tuckahoe, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900.158.3.6.
I mean, this is something that none of us have heard about, right?
Yes,
So it's on for the first time, and we're having a public hearing. We should probably
What, the
get
enforcement action?
information.
Yes,
Yeah,
we-
don't you
no,
think
we
they
talked
should
about
just
it.
tell us about it? Is this the
The
same
enforcement
one?
actions generally come up because they're a matter of importance and.
Yeah, we
you
talked
know.
about, we talked about all three of these. It's another one, right?
We did?
Yeah.
All right, I
All the
don't
same
recall.
owner.
Okay. It's all the same location?
Pretty
Three
much,
different properties.
yeah. Different properties, but the same person.
Oh.
Usually
okay.
by the
Thank
time
you
these
for
come
that
to us,
reminder.
there's so
Yeah.
much history
Oh,
They
so
that,
much
really
notice
tried
has
to,
been already
yeah.
that
given.
you're acting out of,
Good faith.
Yes.
For the neighbors.
Yes.
46269, public hearing, Chapter 261, consider enforcement action at 419 County Road 39, Tuckahoe, New York, Suffolk County Tax 900.158.1.34. Town Board ID 46273, public hearing, Chapter 261, consider enforcement action at 445 County Road 39, Tuckahoe, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900.158.1.133.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46359, notice of public hearing to consider a regulation restricting left turns from Flying Point Road onto Diamond Court Watermill during certain times.
So who's gonna come and speak with us about this?
Mark Brager and Charlie are happy to come and speak about this. This is something that have, as you know, Supervisor, sitting on the Traffic Mitigation and Safety Task Force, we received some concerns from folks in Watermill about this. People turning off Flying Point Road. Right now, there is currently a regulation in place from 6 to 8:30 in the morning. We would essentially, the community has requested that we extend it to 12 p.m. We're looking, highway thinks that might be too extensive, so we're looking at extending it just to 10:30. So it would just be extended by a couple of hours. Again, it's an existing regulation, which was deemed appropriate by the previous board and the engineer. So we'd just be extending it for a couple of hours till 10:30 a.m.
Couple of boards ago.
Yeah, so I mean, I appreciate that you're trying to, be responsive to people that come to the traffic mitigation and task force meetings. This was actually brought to me last year, and I told the person that requested it, I know there were several residents of this road that requested it, that I would not support it because this was put in place nearly a decade ago when the traffic wasn't nearly as bad as it was, and now there's so many neighborhoods, and I can just tell you off the top of my head, Cypress Avenue and East Street in Flanders, McGregor Drive and Shinnecock Hills, Scott Road in North Sea, Henry Road in Southampton, Roman Road in Southampton. All of these roads in the past year or two have come to me and asked for turning restrictions onto their roads because they are similar, quiet residential streets, and they've been inundated with traffic. And so that was my answer to the people requesting that we extend the time on their road. And we also do not have a police officer to enforce this restriction till 10:30 in the morning. So I can't support it knowing that I have been approached by at least 8 other residents from different neighborhoods that have requested similar restrictions on their roads, and we have not granted them.
So I appreciate your comments, and I'm happy to work with you on this a little bit further. But just because there are other concerns coming to us doesn't mean we shouldn't take action in one place. And originally, this resolution was going to do 2 things. It was going to not only further restrict the turns, but it was also going to reduce the speed limit from 30 to 25 because there's concern in this community about speeding cars as well. That's something we can do. We would need the engineer to sign off on that according to the law.
I think you need approval from the state too, don't you, to put a speed limit down to 25?
Traffic study.
Well, the law says that the town engineer would have to approve of it.
But you have to do a traffic study, which costs nearly $10,000.
Well, actually, no. You don't need a traffic study. The law doesn't specifically say study. It just says the town engineer needs to approve it. So, which may require there to be a study. But this has been assessed by the town previously in previous circumstances. So there may actually already be a study that has been done, and our town engineer, whether it's our town engineer in the town or it could be the who highway contracts to, they can assess the situation and determine whether or not there be a reduction of the speed limit. It's a very simple, very clear issue here. But I have, by the way, redacted my request to reduce the speed limit. That's not a part of this resolution because I anticipated some pushback on that. So in order to try to satisfy some of the community's concerns, I'm hoping we could at least extend the no-turn sign a couple of hours. I understand that, our police resources may be either extended or limited because of that, but it's actually about really just trying to change driving behavior. If somebody is driving and they see the sign, they're less likely to commit the act of turning when they're not supposed to turn. So it really just tries to aim at reduction of the issue, mitigation of the issue that's occurring in this particular area. I have spoken at length with our highway superintendent, Charlie McCardle, as well as our deputy highway superintendent, and they are more than fine with this taking place.
We've already had a resident that has come out because of the restriction until 8 a.m. because of the situation that it is a public roadway that is funded by public tax dollars, and we are restricting access of the public to use that road, and they do not feel that is right.
It's not
And,
restricting
no,
access.
let me, yes, it is restricting access. You're saying they can't use that road from 8 AM until 10:30 in the morning. They cannot
can't
turn
turn.
onto that road.
This is
You
a
can't
work
use it
session.
without
He's
turning
set-
onto it.
Councilman's setting a public hearing.
It's
Plenty of
fine.
time for
I'm
all
just-
this.
I want him to know what he is, this is an agenda review, so.
What occurred in the past with those other roads that
They
the
were
town
told no.
determined? But to what extent were they examined? I mean, should we be looking at those as well?
We can look at all of those, because here's the issue, and here's what we're tasked with. County Road 39 is a major issue. It doesn't function. So there have become all of these little relief valves all over town in all these residential neighborhoods. In my opinion, it is not fair to cut off some of these relief valves and not others. And so that was what I have told residents on all of these other roads. So I guess I will now tell them all to come to the task force and put their road on the table and ask for a closure.
Well,
And
maybe
what
we
you're
should
going to
do a
do is
more
you're,
comprehensive look at.
that's what's happening on County Road. I don't think we should be doing any of this until
But you know
County
what,
Road
but
39 is
can I just-
revisited.
we don't have to use such confrontational terms, to say we're gonna bring out the community to demand this and
But
demand
listen,
that.
they came to the task force,
Yeah.
and you were providing them with relief. So there's nothing wrong with all of these other residents coming to
This
the
is
task
something,
force
this is something.
and requesting
this
relief,
is
correct?
Again, this is very watered down, and this is something that is very doable. It doesn't require much to do. It's just an extension of an existing regulation. We are not creating a road. We are not, putting, making something a private road or anything like that. We understand it's a public road. It exists as is within a regulatory.
And it's a further 2.5 hours
Oversight.
of enforcement every day.
Not necessarily.
Monday through
I mean,
Friday.
we can work on that. I'm sure Chief Kiernan would be more than happy to look at how we can make sure that there is an additional safety in this area. And I'm happy to have that conversation with him. If he thinks that this is not something that is doable, it's an additional 2 hours. I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think the community in this area has been reaching out for a long time. And there are a lot of communities that have been reaching out to us for a long time, and the last meeting, they asked for us to take some action on certain items, and I'm hoping that we can look at reasonable solutions that don't require major expenditures, that don't require adding to our existing infrastructure, widening roads, adding roads. People understand if you build it, they will come. I think this is something that we can do that is a very reasonable solution, extending an existing regulation that should hopefully provide some relief to these folks. So that's it. I mean, I don't see what the controversy is in this.
What about the other roads, though? I mean, so not to say this one isn't good, we can
Well,
do this one,
Supervisor-
but should we
we can't-
take another look at the others, like be more comprehensive?
But
about the way
but
we're doing it?
all of us have the ability. In fact, I think my fellow councilman over there has put forward some resolutions that added stop signs. That came to us. Me and Councilman Pell went to the community. We discussed what some of the concerns were. Councilman Pell was proactive in adding that resolution to the agenda, and we passed it.
That's true.
These are things that are coming to us, and I think if we don't act on some of them where we can, not involving enormous expenditures, things that are reasonable, I think that there's no wrongdoing here. I think that this is perfectly fine. This is a fix. That's a 2-hour regulatory fix.
Doesn't preclude us from doing it in other locations as well, is what you're saying.
I will send them in.
And other locations may not be the same, since we're discussing this, and, we're in full-blown discussion here on a public hearing. But this particular road is, it's parallel to Seven Ponds. It's not necessarily a feeder off of 39. It's, people get off 39, and they're on Seven Ponds, and then they cut through this neighborhood, and then they queue up in the neighborhood. It's one of those. So, as far as secondary roads,
It's a
cut-throughs.
shortcut from a shortcut.
Yeah, and it's something that we could look at, and I think the conversation here is a good one, that we should take a look at all of these things.
Sure.
So.
But we have to start somewhere, and I think this can be a good starting point. We can see how it works. And again, if people want to come in and
I will have them come to the public hearing.
and request that we add other areas onto looking at where we can make a fix, let's do it. I'm fine with that.
traffic. Oh, hold on. I think this is me. Town Board Resolution 46277. This is a public hearing to amend Town Code, Chapter 31262, parking by permit at Wildwood Lake Park. This is a setting a public hearing to change the residency parking pilot program that we are extending to all day a week in season at Wildwood Lake. Right, do you understand that? We're requiring residency parking permits at Wildwood
Yes.
Lake through the week.
I think it's a
Okay.
good idea.
So
It's
instead
a really
of
good idea.
a pilot program now, this will be permanent.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And I see that in letter B, it only applies to municipal parking areas.
Right.
And it's gonna be
Not the street.
in season 7 days a week.
Actually,
Correct.
could you add me to that Sunday, please?
And incidentally, we are working with the county to extend the parking area on Lake Avenue more toward the circle. That's a separate thing, though.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46327 to accept the offer of dedication of drainage area as it relates to the subdivision map of Poets Corner.
Town Board Resolution 46393, authorize acquisition of historic preservation and conservation easement property located at 29 Dock Road in the hamlet of Eastport, and amend the Community Preservation Project Plan and CPF Management Stewardship Plan to include said property.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46268, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the donation transfer of land owned by the town at 20 Shinnecock Road, Hampton Bays, to the Community Preservation Fund, and amendment of the CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property. Town Board Resolution ID number 46262, co-sponsored by council members, oh, I'm sorry.
You may as well just add me to that too, Sunday.
Go ahead, Councilman Scavone.
Authorize
Sorry,
a
I was
donation and
reading.
transfer of land owned by the town at the terminus of Bay Bluff Way, Noyak, to the Community Preservation Fund, and amend the CPF project plan and CPF management plan and stewardship plan to include the property.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46298, authorize the supervisor of the town of Southampton to sign an easement granting the Suffolk County Water Authority ingress and egress to and from Lot K on the subdivision map of the Lewis Road PRD. And then I have two changes to the draft agenda. Town Board Resolution ID number 46409, to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget and add the capital project animal shelter flooring and kennels.
Can it be added as a co-sponsor, please?
And Town Board Resolution ID number 46417, authorizing the supervisor to sign an amended contract with the Hampton Hopper LLC for shuttle services associated with the South Fork commuter connection.
This is to address the Friday evening discontinuation of a westbound train in the evening. What we did last year was to augment the service by adding two bus lines, one from East Hampton Town to points in Southampton Town, and the other from Southampton and Bridgehampton to points in Southampton Town. The Hampton Hopper is willing to do this at a cost of $350 a day. The idea is that we keep the schedule that exists during the year in place through the summer.
And hopefully, the MTA will add more sidings and we'll be able to
Yes.
avoid having to do this going forward. Okay. All right, that brings us to a request for a change of zone at 60-71 Woodbine LLC, 2036 County Road 39. And Janice Shear is here with us, our Town Planning and Development Administrator. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Carl Benacasa on behalf of the applicant, I presume.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good
We
afternoon.
told Hayduck that we couldn't do it next week.
Yeah, 23rd. So, good afternoon, Janice Shear, Town Planning and Development Administrator. I'm joined here by the applicant's attorney, Carl Benacasa. Carl's going to discuss what they want to do. I mean, it shouldn't be me sort of telling you what they
Yeah,
want to
no,
do. So
that's
we'll
fine.
take it, he'll take it away, and then we have a draft report, but without a recommendation, because we didn't really, a lot of considerations based on the comp plan, we can discuss all that, but I wanted to hear what their ultimate plan is first.
And they're
so.
here, this is one
Just
pre-existing
one parcel.
non-conforming to another.
Yes,
That's
some
why-
of the
No,
board is
no,
familiar
it's a
with
change
this
of zone.
previously.
Oh, change of zone.
So
Okay.
this request, right now,
Oh, that
the
was the first
parcel
one.
is zoned residential R40. Some of the board may remember that this came in for one nonconforming use to another, and now they're asking for a straight-up zone change to highway business.
I don't know the history, can you?
It's all in the report I gave you, but we can go through that, but I'll let him also go through that. So we'll just start there, and then, like, the detail, we'll get into the details, so thank you.
So I believe Anthony's gonna pull it up on the screen. This is the property that's at the terminus of Sunrise Highway where it becomes County Road 39, right after you leave the highway section of the road. It was undeveloped up until 2008. It was actually vacant land. Under original zoning, the parcel was commercially zoned, as was much of the area in 1957. When the first upzoning in 72 occurred, it became R40, a residential zone, and it's been R40 ever since. Despite the fact that it has been R40, it has never once been developed as a residential property. And when you look at its location, you can probably understand why that is. Its first-
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you said it was never developed commercially, but wasn't it a boat sales?
No, he said
developed
residentially.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
okay.
it's never been
Sorry.
developed as a residential property.
Okay, thank you.
In 1990, the first attempt at development occurred when the owner at the time pursued a use variance to allow that boat sales that you talked about.
Okay.
Although originally denied by the ZBA, there was an Article 78 proceeding, and the court mandated that the use variance be granted. So at that point, there was this permitted commercial use by use variance. In 2001, again, the then owner in 2001 came to the board and applied for additional variances for sales office for a security company. It should note that that variance allowed for development of an 8,760 square foot building. The existing building is about 6,000 square feet.
Would you repeat those numbers, please?
8760 was what was permitted under the 2001 variance.
Mm-hmm.
And the existing building, I believe, is 6,000 square feet, 3,000 square foot footprint. So.
And this is on page 2 also, the decisions and everything, in the second paragraph.
So, in 2008, the building was finally constructed, and that's what's there today, pursuant to a building permit and a CO that was issued by the town, allowing for a 2-story office building, class group B, type 5B construction, conditioned attic for storage only, unfinished first story, ramp and fence and deck. In 2016, 8 years after the initial construction, the owner of the parcel came back to the zoning board again, asking for a change from one non-conforming use to another, so, and to allow 2 office uses. That was granted, but the zoning board limited the use of the offices to insurance and you'll have all this information. Securities brokerage, investment offices, legal services, accounting, and engineering. So it was limited to those uses, the building. In 2022, the current owner my client, came back to this board as non-conform, changing from one non-conforming to another. The authority had been removed from the zoning board to the town board. Came to this board and asked for a change yet again from one non-conforming use to another, namely to allow for the use of the premises by Dance Papers as for print journalism. Part of that change from one non-conforming use to another limited the use of the building from 2, that was permitted under the 2016 building, 2 office uses, back to 1. And so it's currently allowed for 1 office use. My client recently attempted to rent the 2nd floor of the building as they were not using it, and realized, at the time, they were unaware that it was for 2 uses. So as soon as they came to me, I explained to them, I did not represent them during that change of use in 2022, but we went over and I explained to them that you cannot rent it to another use, it's limited to 1 use. And that's what brings us here today.
What do you think the rationale was? I mean, you must know from the ZBA when they said the previous one that it could be used in 2016 for 2 offices, insurance, investment, security. But then when they allowed the paper, which seems like a similar kind of use, they reduced it to 1
Can I?
office?
I did not make
Anybody
that
I was here.
application, but I
They
think,
requested that.
No,
There's-
they requested the change for the newspaper, but the reason for us granting the change of one non-conforming use to another was based on them having a single tenant in the building because of where it is placed, because it is at the merge of 27. There's a bus stop right in front that you may or may not have recalled it getting plowed over by a car. So we asked them to reduce it to 1 use, and they agreed to that to get the change to be able to allow it. And it was Supervisor Schneiderman that said, listen, it's a horrible location, but if we can limit it to 1 tenant and 1 use, that's fine. My issue with this is, it wasn't a long time later, it was literally when the Dance Papers sign went up, another sign went up saying office space for lease. It was months after we had put it down to 1 use. So they went up for 1 other use, so they would be back to their 2. They couldn't lease out a single space. Then it went up for 4 office spaces. In Dan's paper, there was
I'm
an
not
ad.
disputing.
There was an ad, and they separated the 2nd floor, into 4 potential uses. And that's when I went down and I said, when they come in for the change to get the sign up for the new businesses going in, they're not permitted. So now we're here, and you weren't here when we did the change of one non-conforming use to another.
No.
I was, so that's why I'm bringing this all to the board's attention. The reasoning behind it was to limit the use of the building because of the location.
And those are the standards there up on the board, 330-185.1. Those are the new standards when it comes before the town board. And it was what's in Councilwoman McNamara saying, to be less impactful would be under 2, and number 2, more conforming than the current use in terms of community impacts and environmental impacts. So that was that finding that if it was even 1 instead of the current 2, we'd be reducing it in scale.
And we made it happen.
Those were the
Right.
standards with the zoning board. We just moved them over to this board.
Yes.
They're a little bit reworded, but yeah, they're very similar.
And we made it happen very quickly for them so they could close on the property and move in.
Right, so
I don't know, I mean, if you have one building that has, 1 tenant, but they're allowed to have so many employees to occupy 2 floors versus a reduced amount of employees and 2 tenants, I don't know, about that use? Is it more burdensome to have 2?
that was just the finding of that board. Now they're coming to you saying, okay, that's not even this, we still want to be able to use it as they want to use it, and now they're asking, and you'll have to consider whether or not you want to entertain it to just be commercial use entirely. And that's the.
And can you
what
give us
they're
the
saying
comp plan
Commercial
recommendation?
use
now. Yeah, that's all in this
entirely.
report I just gave. So, but
The
go
comp
on.
plan's actually silent on it, but we can,
Yeah, but go on
Sure.
about what's
So-
the consideration of what do they wanna do now and in
so
the future?
there is no intent to enlarge or expand the building. It's just the fact that if you look at the history of this parcel, it's never actually functioned as a residential parcel, and that is true with its two sister parcels. If you pull out the hotel, the Bentley Hotel, and that gas station right there, in this little island of use, no one has ever used it as as residential uses. They are not well suited for residential use, given their location. And as a result, applying R40 standards creates multiple nonconformities, which can all be cured if we apply a commercial standard. The proposed is HB.
The gas station is R40.
The gas stations are 40. The
What's-
hotels are 40.
What's allowed in HB?
HB would allow office uses, it allows service stations. Hotels are not. Hotels are only allowed in motel hotel districts and in RWB. Neither of those would be appropriate for this. So the bulk of hotels in the town actually are in pre-existing non-conforming.
So they're not looking to, this owner is not looking to expand the building.
Not at all, no.
But if we change the zoning to HB,
Any expansion would require, obviously, compliance with zoning and full site plan approval. So you would have, oversight.
HB zoning tables, Anthony? So we'll go through that, yeah, because it could be that, they go away, and now it's zoned HB, and then you would have someone having
I
an
just,
HB.
my only issue with this property, and I understand, and it does make sense, like the supervisor said, if you're having one business or 6 businesses and they're occupying the same amount of space, it's the same technically amount of people. But my problem is right now, we have so much oversight over this parcel, because anything that wants to be done commercially there has to come before us. So when we change it to HB, it opens the door to all these other things as of right that we may not want to see at this parcel because of its location on the terminus of 27. That's
So-
my only,
No, it's a point. We could, if there are specific uses that the board is concerned with, we could always covenant around them and prohibit those specific uses.
You
Yeah, I
don't-
think
I
like
don't
a
think
use
the other-
like, that's permitted in HB, that would be a concern here, would be something like a special trade contractor or a landscaper coming out of that area
You don't
with
want
like
a
the
high
big,
traffic
the outfits.
like we said
with
on
the
this, we said
trailers
they
and all
couldn't
that.
have any distribution out of this site for the newspaper.
Sure, that makes sense, given where it is. If we have a, oh,
I have
sorry.
a question about egress. If you go back, on the right-of-way for the highway is actually, it surrounds the property, as you know.
That's right.
Is it possible, has your client ever sought egress from the southern portion of the property to Hill Station Road?
Well, in order to do that, we'd have to, and that actually is a good point that brings me to my next point. In order to do that, we would need cross-access over the hotel property, which if we come in as a blanket change of zone application, this board could require that. And that would direct traffic, any egress off of that site onto Hill Station as opposed to that horrible.
Well, you wouldn't be able to.
Hill
just
Station
look-
is pretty horrible too.
I don't know if we
Yeah,
have
not as hot as
cross-access.
Sunrise.
Anthony, can you tell if we have cross-access at that Bentley?
Well, here.
If we don't already have it.
You
under
can't
cross-
require them to
Yeah,
give them
You can't
cross
just
access.
involve some other property and require them to do
Well,
that.
I was asking
without
about
them
the-
making an
If
application.
highway
they were
easement.
coming in as part of this.
Yeah,
that's
but
what
they've
I'm saying.
already, but they're not, right?
Well, we can have substantive conversations with them. to do
Well, that would bring me to my next point, is that to zone just one parcel is not permissible. That is spot zoning. So you really do need the hotel and the gas station to kind of involve themselves
Can we
as well.
include cross-access in that?
We can't, the
Only if
hotel
they
is not
were-
permitted under HB though.
Well, they would be the same non-conforming that they are now.
Can we
It wouldn't
include
change for
cross-access?
them. I'm sorry?
Can we include cross-access agreements in that, or is that just, that site plan review?
As part of your approval?
If they were party
Yes.
to the request, yes. If they are not, no.
Yeah, right. Maybe
Okay.
if there's a new application and a new use proposed, then, yeah, I mean, for the applicant, sure,
I
but
understand.
for the adjacent landowner,
No, this would be on the
Yeah.
assumption they would join in the application.
We can't tell if we have cross-access for them or not,
I mean, when was it built?
a long time ago.
It was built in, well, I believe in, we looked.
What
it had
did the
steel in
aerials say?
79, well, it was there in the
Yeah.
70s, yeah. not 76.
76.
So between 62 and 76.
Right.
It wasn't
Pretty
there in
sure the
62.
CO was issued in 79.
So they didn't, there was no cross-access back
There was
then.
no cross access.
So they haven't come back to do anything
So
that we
it
would
would have to be
require
issued under original
cross-access.
zoning, right?
So the
Because
only
it was
time
e-business then.
we ask for cross-access is when someone comes back in and then we get it now in the modern day when we know we need it. But
So
No, it
this
was R
would,
40 in 72, so you know, problem.
Yeah,
this would ordinarily go to the zoning board, but because it's a non-conforming use, I mean, this is like a change of use.
No,
This
this would
is
always be the town
literally
board's
as a
authority.
change of zone.
So we're asking to change the zone.
Yeah,
Why
code
can't you
amendment.
just do a change of use to have two?
Well, I think that creates
Instead of one.
the complicated, just furthers the complicated history, that we'd always have
I
to.
mean, they could come back for another request back to you and say, we don't like these conditions, can you remove that condition? Or you can just, you know,
I think that that this is always gonna be a problem with this parcel and these, and that this section of area is clearly not residential, and that the best approach would be to recognize how this lot has been developed over time, and this is not a residential area, the three of them.
so a general recommendation of the County Road 39 corridor land use plan was to create a new category for just this, and that's called highway office business. And it, HOB, and it wasn't for these parcels necessarily, but it was for parcels along the highway that would then have a restrictive use categories, like you can't have the full gamut of all the highway business zones. However, still maintaining that intent to serve the businesses for higher order goods. So that's an option too. You can do that on your own motion. You don't necessarily need anyone to make
We
application
already
to you.
created that HOB?
No.
We have a land use study that tells us to create it. We haven't created it to this point, but we can. We sure can. And that would create smaller buildings. And that was the sticking point, I think, because the study said not to exceed 5,000. And these would all be non-conforming if you did that.
And I think too, though, if you did the additional, when we were talking about this, when we were talking about going from 2 uses to 1, it's not just that the people in the building, obviously, it's deliveries to those businesses, it's people coming in, even if they're all professional services, you know, people coming in to visit the accountant, people coming in to visit the, you know, whereas it's not just UPS coming in once a day to do the deliveries to the paper, they're coming in for the paper place, and the next day they're coming in for the accountant, and the next day they're coming in for, you know what I mean? It's just
Too much
nonstop.
turnover, yeah.
But why-
Although
why
it is
did they
right turn in, right turn out, so I mean.
Right in, right out. But
Of course,
what,
accent.
why was it always going to
The
the
ideal.
ZBA and now it's not going to?
Because they changed
So
the
the
law.
town board the zoning board of appeals always had the power to change from one non-conforming use to another. The previous administration said, this seems like a zone change when you do that. And so they took that out of the ZBA realm and put it into your realm. So you guys
And this,
approved that.
and Tommy John, correct me if I'm wrong, supervisor at the time also felt that it's usually a contested thing, and it was better to be before a board that is elected.
And it was something that was fairly unique to Southampton Town.
Very unique.
Very
Yeah, no
unique.
one else
Very
has
unique.
that.
It's
And-
actually a pretty good tool in some ways. It could be a good
It's,
tool.
I think it's smart.
And
Yeah,
the
I
change
do.
of
I agree.
non-conforming came about because of, I believe, the Stahecki property.
Yeah.
And all the blowback that the ZBA was getting on changing that from, you know, the Stahecki property to a high-density housing development, and
Yeah.
they wanted
That's-
somebody to be accountable for the decision on that, so.
Right.
Yeah, through my career, I think it's, it could be an effective tool to address, non-conforming uses that are really not compatible with the neighborhood any longer, to get rid of old non-conforming uses. And
Right, but should it even be zoned residential? I mean, it
this piece,
shouldn't.
no,
Well, that's the
100%
debate
not.
here,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
or not,
Right.
but you can't just pick one parcel and say,
No, well, we
you
could change the
need
whole
a
zone.
block of them in order
Yeah.
to do a
But you
comprehensive.
don't.
What if we had the hotel and this?
Yeah.
But will
The
that
hotel, the gas station, there
Yeah.
it is.
But do,
Yeah, yeah.
but do we need a
We
request
should-
from them in order to change a zone that would include them?
You
You
could, or
prefer,
you could.
definitely, you would.
You would want
prefer,
that,
right.
and we can certainly carry the
Yeah.
water on that.
Yeah, yeah. Reach out to them
If we want
and-
that cross-access, you're gonna need them to be a joint applicant.
I'm concerned with the cross-access, I'm concerned about the hotel guests coming in off the highway here. I don't think they're gonna want the hotel guests going through their property either.
That's smart, yeah.
Plus, there's a lot of,
It's just, you think it's more traffic off the highway there
I think people will come through those, honestly, in the morning, I think people will come, they'll come through there and they'll cut down Hill Station.
Regardless of
When
the
it's
cross
backed up?
access, I just wanna be clear, you don't have to have the
That was gonna
hotel
be
and
my
gas
secret
station
way.
coming in if you wanna rezone a block.
I think I already did
Right.
that.
Need
We
there.
can just
You can
rezone
just
the
do it
block.
on your own
Yeah.
motion.
No, you could do
Right.
it, but that's,
Yeah.
yeah, then you're
But you
inviting
couldn't impose the
litigation and-
cross-access.
yeah.
So I
Well, I
was,
mean, they would probably prefer HB to R40 on the highway there. It's
Yeah,
more
when-
HOB,
I would,
no,
s-
HB.
HB.
I would say that when this came in for site plan, the current site, there was a cross-access, but we don't have the other part of it. So if the hotel were to come in for site plan for some reason, at that point you could require cross-access.
They just did a big renovation there, didn't they?
Yeah, but it was in kind. It wasn't, it didn't affect the site.
so
They
is the
seem to get a
highway
lot of,
easement completely?
summer
Mm-hmm.
people
Is the
living there.
highway easement
A lot of
completely?
kids,
lot of,
a lot of young people.
The state
Hospital
land?
residencies
Yeah,
and
that's,
stuff like
that's
that.
where the
I would
highway
just
was supposed to
bus
go.
stop down there?
I would like them
1970.
to be
I
able
know.
to walk through here to
And-
get to the bus stop.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
No, I think
They
they've
do
got
it
another
already.
Well,
direction.
you created a
So-
sidewalk there.
I see
I
young
mean,
people
that's-
like
For that.
I know,
waiting for
but
the
if they
bus.
could
Public
walk through the
property.
parking lot and
That's
bus stop's
probably
right
a
there.
pretty
They
big
go out
lift
to
for your
Montauk and
client.
whatnot, they're working
They
on
go
it.
down
We'd have to
Hill
get,
Station
you're
and
talking about
walk.
getting an easement over the state land?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, is
This,
it,
because this
Open
doesn't
up a
go all
road
the way,
there,
it goes
or
to
is-
here.
who owns?
You know,
is
an
it
entrance.
So we could
Exactly.
change
Talk
the
to our-
zone
Right, because,
from
you know,
R40
traffic
to
is-
HB, but
Anthony,
restrict what's
Who
included
owns
in
the
the
big
HB.
piece behind
This
it?
one?
Yeah.
I believe this is.
Yes,
state.
That's the
although I
highway.
caution you against just
That's the highway
zoning one
easement that I'm
parcel.
asking you
That
about.
is not usually permissible.
So that's
Considered
state
spot.
owned.
All right, let's have one
I'm
conversation at
sorry.
a time. Go ahead.
I'm glad that you finally used that.
That's state-owned land.
Do we
Right.
know how the state owns it, Carl? Is it parks or is it?
It was for the
DOT?
highway.
So there's potential.
That's where the Sunrise Highway is supposed to go.
Yeah, it's not owned for preserved land.
Okay.
You're talking about asking them to give an easement for? I wouldn't
Consider
even know how
that.
to, that's quite a bit, that's quite a road to cut, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Who owns
Well, maybe
that?
not anymore because all those trees are
DOT
dead.
is state.
The Beatles did their job.
Well,
Can check to
Just make
see,
another
we
shortcut.
can check with DOT to see, if they consider that surface property at this point, or, what they consider that in their inventory.
But so right now, we can't, what you're saying is we can't really consider this without considering the other two.
I'm concerned, and maybe Jim, you weigh in, like typically spot zoning is, it doesn't say you should do it in it's not supported in anywhere in the comprehensive plan documents, and it's not, it's not a swath of land, it's just one.
No, but it wouldn't be one. We wouldn't do just one.
Right, so in terms of electing to consider this request, you almost need to
Have the other.
have the other
Request
ones.
on the table.
But I
And-
thought we just said you didn't need their
You don't need-
request
you
in
don't need
order
their
to
request.
No,
change
but you don't
those
want it.
three
I'm saying you could
parcels.
say we're not electing to consider your zone change, but we're do it, on our own motion. But then, of course, that requires your own budget.
You can do that, but that's
Your
inviting
own
litigation.
reviews.
We
It's
prefer
inviting
route, certainly.
litigation,
Well,
just to
yeah.
say, go from R40 to the HB in that swath of land that includes.
All I'm saying is the preferred route is to see if you can get the other two
I can't
landowners
imagine
to
the gas
agree.
station would complain, they'd become a
Yeah,
conforming.
right, right.
I mean, they're gonna become conforming.
Well, just reach out, and if
That's
they're,
what we
if
want,
they
right?
consent to it, then that's a much better pathway than to just do it on.
I'll happily have those.
The residential R40 zoning that's currently in place is that's a limiting factor on the current owner's ability to
Do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
The obviously the HB would be obviously it would open them up to what could we see potentially from the owner if we were to
That's a good question. And I think Anthony had the use
And I have
table
the,
up.
the table, so if I was gonna make a generalization, like.
This is Anthony Trezor, our principal planner,
Nice
in
to meet
current
you.
planning.
You've never,
I don't know if that, for the record, I just wanted to.
You've been in emails, but I've never seen you.
Oh,
It's like a.
As a generalization, the retail uses, for example, are, like Janice said, of a larger, order. So you're not gonna find like the florist, the stuff that you would find in the village business, for example.
yeah, a higher order is like you don't go to PC Richards every day and buy a refrigerator. You don't buy these big things all the time. So we call those higher order goods, meaning they're not like an in and out traffic thing, not a 7-Eleven, not a thing where people are coming and going all the time. And
So-
that's what we want on County Road 39. We have a whole traffic plan for County Road 39 from the past that's to protect the integrity of the roadway. You have to have the kinds of uses that are not causing that
And that's
turnover.
HB?
That's just, no, HB requires the higher order goods, is what we're saying. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be HB,
Right, so
generally.
aren't we being consistent then by
You are.
changing it to HB?
Anthony, where does the HB stop from the east?
Let's see, where are we?
It's
So,
right there.
There.
it's over here, so that's Arbutus, right? Yeah, so that's where
So you have that whole
the second
swath
quadrant
there.
starts,
2,500.
So your commercial
You know
corridor
that off the top of your head?
really begins at that point. So, you know, you're saying like just these 3 parcels, but you're interrupted still by all that in between the 2 HBs.
But
Do you
this
see
was a
what I'm saying?
recommendation for the County Road 39, what's the
No, I'm saying the
status?
recommendation is to maintain uses that don't require in and outs all the time. This is residentially zoned, so they
I know,
weren't-
but so isn't that what we're talking about, changing, I mean, what is to the right of that? To
All
the east?
all
residential.
residential.
Those are actually been
See,
developed
do
as
you-
homes,
Do you see the
Oh, yeah.
disconnect there? There, you would be creating another little pocket of HB where HB ended at Arbutus
And
there.
where does it start up again?
It doesn't.
No,
That's
right
the end.
there,
No,
to
it
the
goes
right.
to the right.
Oh, to the east, yeah.
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 I'm
Further-
talking from the east to the west. It ends, HB stops, and then it's residentially zoned. That whole chunk there.
Yeah, but these have
Then-
been developed as commercial properties. So, I mean, they're
Let's look at
functioning.
them. Can you fly through there on the Google Earth? You know, Google Street
Yeah.
View? This is why I asked Anthony to come so he can do all my. So the County Road 39 study is broken into quadrants because it's a different experience during each segment of the roadway. So you have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. So quadrant 1 is a lot more like wooded and low.
But see what I'm talking about? There's a sidewalk here now, but it's not, it doesn't go all the way, there's the bus stop there, because this predates the bus stop.
Yeah.
But that sidewalk doesn't go all the way to Hill Station.
But let's
That's
just like Anthony, turn and go east. Yeah, and we all know this because you drive it, but there's nothing. You know, this is all residential. You're saying it's commercial, and starting here now,
Well, no,
That's
but
the-
the property you just passed was commercial. That was just the other side of our property and the hotel.
Yeah.
that's the hotel and gas station, right? So that, you can just see visually makes sense, it's commercial. But then you have this whole swath. I'm just alerting you to the fact that if you did that, the 3, you still have a whole chunk of residential. So it's not like, oh, we're just continuing that HB a little more.
It has nothing to do with continuity, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
right, thank you.
But if the ultimate goal is to have it, you know, have that
Compliant.
zoning and be in compliance, then.
And I think it's
it makes
important to
sense
note
change.
that those
Right.
parcels were developed residentially, and these
So
never
then you
were.
have sort of a residential character here as you move
And
away
those
from
people have
that.
difficult times to get on it and out of their property.
Yeah, but that's all like residential for a while, until you get down to by the, you know, further down.
Try hard as
So I just want you to, you know, recognize that it's not the continuity, it's just that little chunk is more of a commercial nature than
And
the
then it
rest of it.
starts here.
And then it starts again by the pool.
What's, when
Totally
you
wrong.
refer to a County Road 39 study, so what's the status of that?
It's complete.
This is your adopted study. This is guides your policies and
The
decisions.
town of Southampton.
The town of Southampton adopted this, and this is the policies and the, you know, this is on our website.
But did we do things to implement the
We
recommendations
have
from the
done
study?
some things, yeah.
Would this be one of them, to put
No.
HB in this location?
It's just not on there as a recommendation at all. It just, sometimes,
The
There
one
just
thing this,
aren't.
the study mentions in this quadrant is that sort of beautify this as a gateway.
yeah.
But
And
that's-
the other
that's
thing,
it.
the big thing in the study was to create that turnaround by Inlet Road, because you couldn't get, you know how we, like the state kind of got involved and fixed that area so that you can come back around? You know, everyone know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about?
think so.
So, I just
That
haven't
was
read that
this.
study, just to clarify that. So this is part of this, where this property is, this quadrant 1. They made some recommendations about, you know, like a gateway treatment, you know, the traffic median there to, you know, welcome you to the Hamptons. They talk about some buffering on some of these residential properties and some of the, you know, to help do some buffering, but they didn't make any actually, there's
So
no
you can
specific
kinda see
change,
there it
zone
is,
change
right at
recommendations
that
for that
little-
quadrant.
Isn't the current zoning, though, a bit more, I think, in line with the the welcoming recommendation, or, I mean, because
What, a gateway?
yeah,
The gateways are generally commercial, like Bridgehampton Gateway is a commercial zone.
right.
Yeah.
I would
Hampton
agree with
Bays
that.
is a commercial zone.
Yes.
Hampton Bays Gateway is a commercial zone. Yeah.
But you may want to, if you were to entertain this, you may want to impose additional restrictions in the front yard, so to keep it that way. You know, you could think of that. So the conditions here look the same.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want the hotel to open up frontage to the highway, you know?
Right, you would want to keep this as a buffer. And I think everybody in these buildings wants that buffer from
Sure.
the highway too.
So
I
we
don't-
can have that as a condition?
You would, absolutely. Yeah, so it's not called out specifically, but there's some objectives that we lay out in the report. You know, improve the appearance, implement access management strategies, create consistency, you know, deploy this new category, which would not work here because you'd already create nonconformities. The buildings are already way in excess of those standards, and that was one of the problems with that recommendation in the first place. So I think we need a
Why
little
would
more
they
work
be,
here.
saying add smaller buildings to 39? Which means more of them, right? And,
You know,
or it's just different times?
it's just a
when it was
different
done?
time of time. That's
Yeah.
why it didn't get implemented, because there was a lot of people that were like, what, you already limit me to 15,000, I can't even do that, you know, and you wanna now make it 5? So that was the problem there. But I think that maybe Carl, you can go back and talk to the
Neighbors?
adjacent neighbors.
Sure.
I think that's where we have to start,
Yeah.
if we're even gonna.
No, that was my plan. I wanted to get kind of some feedback from the board before I did, but now I'm happy to go talk to them.
Great.
Certainly works to clean up that area from a zoning perspective. Totally.
Cool, so, yeah, let us know what they say, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah,
You
thank
want
you
these
both.
back the next time?
No, you can have them, unless you want me to keep them for you.
Okay, so I will speak to the neighbors, and then, do you want to have another work session, or should we submit the final application?
No, you can't submit the final until they take a formal action to consider you, and the sound of it is, they can't really consider
Consider you
you
until-
unless we understand what's going on.
Okay, so we'll have to do another work session.
Yes,
Okay.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
thank you.
Thank you.
We're here every Thursday.
Every Thursday. Same time, same place. Good to see you all.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you, Janice. and,
Thank you,
Thank
Anthony.
you.
Thanks, Anthony.
You all do.
All right, so now we have time for our town council and supervisors project update. Councilman Scavone, do you have
Give me
anything
cold
you'd
work.
like to update the board and community on?
You're all cordially invited to come out on the 17th to get on the Long Island Railroad, the 3:30 train heading west from Southampton. That will get off in Hampton Bays, at which point we will have a press conference and rally asking the MTA for more sightings on the East End. So that will be happening. We have a good slate of speakers, and, so please come on out, support us.
Thank you.
I have another few weeks to bid will be back for the architect for the senior rec center in West Hampton. So we can start on that.
You did what?
The bid had gone out and they're coming back.
Yes,
to
that'll
pick-
be exciting.
To pick
yeah.
an architect
Yeah,
for that, those
Looking
two
forward
buildings.
to that.
Yes, very excited for the people in West Hampton. They need that.
yeah. Let's see, I, yesterday attended a, regional solid waste summit in Hauppauge that the county executive wanted all the supervisors to attend to brainstorm ideas about what to do in anticipation of the possible closing of the Brookhaven dump. And Tom Houghton went with me, and there's gonna be more meetings every month just to, it's like a working group, to come up with solutions. And I also had the honor of accompanying Sergeant Dennis Riordan on our memorable journey to Washington DC on the honor flight. And it was really emotional and rewarding to be with him, and he opened up to me about his experiences, and he was able to find the names of some of his people that he served with that passed away on the wall of the Vietnam Veterans
He was a
Memorial.
Vietnam veteran?
And he took the pencil etching to take home with him. And they all got a real hero's welcome when we landed, and it was really wonderful, and there was a lot of coordination by the people that put it together.
Yeah.
So I applaud their efforts.
It's a great day. It's a great
Yeah,
thing to do for our veterans.
really is. Arbor Day is being celebrated tomorrow in West Hampton Beach at Glover's Park. And also the Community Preservation Fund is celebrating its 25th anniversary on Saturday, May 11th at Good Ground Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah, so our next traffic mitigation task force meeting is June 26th at 4:00 p.m. We'll hold it here. We'll have an hour public portion to hear from members of the public. We welcome everyone. And I think that's really about it.
What's the date?
June 26th at 4. I don't think you'll be able to make it. I think Jackie said.
Jackie said so, it's law.
I have to be there. June 22nd?
It's 26th.
I'll have to look
Yeah.
into that, why I can't come.
So we had our best steering committee meeting on May 7th. I think it went really well. We went through the code. We came up with some starting points and great solutions to basically start with anything over 1 megawatt being commercial scale. Well, not commercial scale, but grid scale BAS. And 1 to 10 staying for the planning board, 10 and above coming to the town board. All of them starting off as a type 1 action under SECRA, which means we have to do full environmental impacts on all of them. We had also basically have already taken residential off the table for grid scale BAS. So I think we're moving towards, a good start. We will be having another meeting on May 22nd. We did change the time of that meeting. It was going to be at 6. It's now going to be from 4 to 6:30 so that we can have the community in this room and get feedback on the recommendations we've made to date. And so I know a lot of people have been watching the meetings. They have feedback for us. So I just wanted to, before we got too far down the road, get community feedback and get their input on what we've been talking about. And the committee members will have, I believe by May 15th, we will have given planning our recommendations based on the current code and changes we want to see made, and then we'll get community feedback and we'll go from there.
I think we're making some good progress.
Yeah, I do too.
Are you having only one meeting for community feedback, or are you going to be?
We're going to
holding
start with the 22nd, see how that meeting goes, and then we may go back to just the steering committee to take that feedback and process it through and see where it's at, and then, hopefully.
Review a
Be on
draft
our
of
way
a
to a
revised
draft, yeah.
code, yeah. Oh, good, thank you. Well, if that's it for the comments, then I move to go into executive session to discuss litigation, personnel, and confidential legal advice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.